Yo, welcome back everybody to a brand new video here on the second channel. Today we're going to look at all of the decks that got day 2 at Hartford Regionals. We do have the entirety of day 2, 111 people in day 2. We're going to look at every single deck and kind of look at the list, see if there was anything interesting in day 2. There was a few interesting things I've seen in day 2 here, but we're going to check out what we got going on for all the decks in day 2 of Hartford Regionals. And there was a lot of developments. Obviously, the big one is that Meloetta Mew did win the entire tournament, which is very interesting. Obviously, Meloetta Mew is a very strong deck against Arceus. I think the problem with Meloetta Mew is you are going to struggle more or less against Lost Box, but you're going to have a better time against Arceus. And I think that was a good meta call to make because, like, there was a lot of Arceus in Hartford. Like, there was a ton of Arceus at Hartford, especially in day 2, and I know that Rowan did a good job piloting this deck. I mean, Rowan's literally like one of the best Mew players, in all honesty, so no surprise that he finally won a tournament with it. But yeah, this list is pretty cracked. I think the big thing about Meloetta Mew is the ability to play 4 trekking shoes. Just turbo, trying to get that Elisa Sparkle as fast as possible. We do see here in Rowan's list does have the double boss Roxanne the Penny. The one thing with the list is the one Path of the Peak and then no Judge. So against Lost Box, it's a little bit more trickier to navigate. I know the Deoxys is really good against Lost Box, so I think that's one card that Rowan definitely used to his advantage was the Deoxys, but it is interesting to see how much Lost Box he would have played against with the deck. And then, of course, we got Grant Shen getting second place with the Urshifu deck. The Lugia Urshifu deck, I mean, sorry, the Lugia deck. Yeah, I don't know why I said Lugia Urshifu. Lugia's pretty good. Obviously, very strong deck in the format right now. Nothing really too crazy in the list here to look at. Pretty similar to Regan's list, which Regan even got third place with Lugia. So another Lugia deck doing pretty well. Pretty sure they played like the same 60. And of course, we got Luke Smith here with a Fusion Mew deck doing pretty well. So yeah, Fusion Mew obviously still a very strong deck in the format. Again, being able to use Judge Path is good. Fusion Mew also is still fine into Arceus. If Arceus does, like, set up, like, the big dark attackers, it can be very scary. But overall, Fusion Mew, like, Judge Path is just very strong right now in the format, and still is a good deck. I would say Fusion Mew is worse going into the Meloetta Mew deck. I would say Meloetta is favored into Fusion Mew. But I definitely think that Fusion Mew is a pretty solid deck. And then, of course, we got Danielle Tavila with the Turbo Lost Box Kyogre deck here. Obviously, their team was on the Kyogre deck again. No surprise that the deck did really well. Kyogre is very, very good right now. And honestly, I mean, Daniel maybe could have taken down the entire tournament. I mean, the deck could have been more favored into the Mew decks. Obviously, Kyogre is really good against Mew, because against Mew, you just knock out 1-2 Prizer. You basically don't activate Roxanne, and then you just Kyogre 2 Genesect Vs for game. And of course, we got Raymond Long, another fellow Canadian, with the Lost Box deck. Now, Raymond is really interesting list here from Raymond. He's got the Kyogre, the Articuno, and the Snorlax. He's not playing any Dragonite or Raikou. He's actually opted for a single prize approach. And Raymond, I know, has been on the Articuno for a minute because he did win a League Cup at my locals a few weeks back. And the Articuno is really good against Duraludon and Lugia. Being able to insta-paralyze them is really strong. Articuno is very, very good. And then, of course, the Kyogre and the Snorlax are really good attackers, too. And Raymond's pretty good with Lost Box. He's a very good Lost Box player. And this is a very interesting list. And only playing 2 types of two energies, 6 Water and 5 Psychic. That actually gives you better time into, like, having to, like, Flower Select or Course Away energy, because, you know, with the other Kyogre decks, you're playing, like, 4 or 5 Waters, and it's like, oh, well, then I got hit later on in the road when I would try to go late game Kyogre. But when you have 6 Waters, it's not as bad. Yeah, still playing the Pokestop. Still kind of trying to work towards the Kyogre with the Triple Recycler, the Pokestop, but does have the extra backup attackers with the Articuno and the Snorlax. So really cool list from Raymond. And of course, we got Ryan Harris, who's playing the Arc Umbreon deck. The highest placing Arc Umbreon deck at Hartford. This one does play the Triple Discovery. And as you can see, the list only plays 6 draw supporters with 2 Research, 2 Colress, 2 Judge. I'm still, like, not sold on that. I just liked my build, being able to just have all the draw supporters in the deck. But the Discovery definitely is very good in the deck. I'm pretty sure it's, like, almost... This might actually just be the exact 60 from Portland, or maybe minus the Single Strike Energy. I can't remember if the Portland list played Single Strike Energy or not. This list only plays the 1 Single Strike Energy as opposed to the 2 that a lot of the other lists played, including my own. And then, of course, we got Sashi. He's actually a good friend of mine. Literally is somebody that I went, drove home with. So, yeah, really cool to see Sashi do well. He's a local of mine and a good friend, and he was playing at the Mew VMAX deck. He had a really hot run. Did end up losing to Regan in top 8 because, I mean, Dark Pokemon are just really good against Mew, right? So, just kind of how she goes. And then, of course, we got the bottom half of the top 8, of course, we got Christian Labella with another Arcadura Umbreon deck. Now, I know Labella didn't have the Karen in the deck, and yeah, there's no Karen's Conviction. This one does play a bit heavier of draw. We do see the 4 cores, 3 judge, actually not playing a single research, which is very interesting. No research in the deck, playing the 3 discovery, the boss, the Volo, the Charon's Care. Really cool list from Labella. Again, not playing Karen is definitely kind of bait, though. But Labella did do pretty well with the day. I mean, he was the highest C going into day 2. So not even, I mean, he didn't need the Karen's Conviction. We got Axel here, another friend playing the Mew deck. The interesting is he decided to tech in the Manaphy for the Kyogre matchup, which is honestly pretty smart. Because again, against like Kyogre decks, they're going to basically go Kyogre by not letting you play Roxanne. And they're going to just Kyogre you and take out 2 Genesects. And having the Manaphy, you just time the Manaphy. You just kind of beat Lost Box Kyogre pretty easily with the Manaphy. Then, of course, we got another Mew deck. Mew doing pretty well this tournament. No surprise there. This one looks to be more closer to Pablo's list using the Avery, the Judge, the Roxanne. No fan of waves in these lists. The Cleansing Gloves, though, is interesting. Then, of course, we got more Lost Box shenanigans here. Samuel on the Lost Box deck. Looks like it is just the Turbo deck with the split stones. We got the Sky Seal on the 4. Sky Seal was honestly a pretty good call for this tournament because I did lose one of my games to Andrew Estrada, who did have the Sky Seal Stone in his Turbo list. So Sky Seal Stone was honestly a pretty good call for this tournament. I don't think a lot of people were really expecting the Sky Seal Stone to be in these lists, and I definitely think it would have been very good to have for sure. And then, of course, we got John Ang with the Lost Box deck. And this one, there's a lot going on in here. We got Dragonite, Kyogre, Raikou, and the Articuno, and a Snorlax. That's a lot of Pokemon to cram in the deck. The interesting is there is no boss in the deck. Opting for Chorus and Clara is the only supporter. So no boss is interesting. Actually, double Pokestop, no Beach Court is also very interesting. It's a very interesting Lost Box list. The Articuno is obviously really good. I think it was a good call for this tournament for sure. And then, of course, we got Raymond here with another Arcdura deck. And again, playing the very heavy counter Discovery. And again, only playing 6 draw supporters, which, I mean, I don't know, man. Like, it worked for these people. I mean, these people did pretty well in the tournament, obviously doing better than I did. But I don't know, man. Just only seeing 6 draw cards. It's just like, bro, if you get judged, dude, it just feels so bad. I don't know, man. I'm glad I played the heavy draw, but the Discovery definitely was missed in times. And of course, we got Azul here with the probably the same list we saw from Daniel. Yeah, the Turbo Lost Box. Then we got my friend Joe here with the Arcdura Umbreon deck once again. Now, this list does play the Raihan, but once again, only playing 6 draw cards in total, which, I mean, it's not bad, but I don't know. I felt comfortable having all the draw. The nice thing about this list actually plays 5 metal. It's actually one of the things with my list. I only played 4 metals, so if you ever use a metal on an Arceus, you effectively can't do double Dura unless you Raihan to it, which was one awkward thing. And honestly, a 5th metal wouldn't be a terrible idea to put in the Arcdura deck. I could even see you going down to 1 Dark Energy for a 5th metal, like even if trying to make that cut could be worthwhile. We got Caleb Gettimer once again with probably the same list we saw with the Turbo Lost Box Kyogre deck. Got Daniel here with another Lugia deck. This Lugia deck, very simple, does play the Thornton, and the Thornton is definitely the one tech card that I can see Lugia kind of adapting in the Dura meta. Like, if you don't Duraludon the Urshifu and Lost City the Urshifu, like, if you KO the Urshifu and don't Lost City it, you can still Thornton it into play and KO the Duraludon. Because a lot of the time when you're playing against Lugia with Dura, you KO their Urshifu and it, goes to the discard. You're like, all right, I don't got to deal with it anymore. How are you going to hit my Dura? And then, like, Thornton it into play. That's where the Lost City is needed. So the Thornton is actually something I was very mindful of. Every time I played against Lugia, I always tried to make sure that I had Lost City in play when I KO'd an Urshifu, because I was very mindful of Thornton. Because some lists will play the Thornton, some lists play the Penny, and I didn't want to take that risk. Then we got Darren O'Mara with the Lost Box deck again. This one looks to be the Turbo build with the Split Stone package. Then we got Jose Marzan with the Arcdura Umbreon deck. Now, Jose actually did have a spicy tech. He actually played a couple path over the Lost City. And the other thing with his list, too, he actually did opt for a little bit heavier of judges. He plays 4 judge and 2 path, really trying to punish Lost Box. And honestly, I kind of like Jose's list here quite a bit. The path is honestly kind of smart. The downside of this build is you can see there's no Alakazam and Halucha combo, so not having the Halucha and Alakazam definitely is a bit of a trade-off to have to play for these supporters. But yeah, there's a lot of supporters in Jose's list. 4 judge, 2 research, the boss, the Chorus, the Discovery, the Volo, Karen Raihan. a bunch of supporters, which, I mean, I don't hate it. Honestly, having a heavy count of judge means that having more supporters makes more sense because you judge yourself into bad hands, you have more supporters to draw into. Also, playing a vacuum in the deck is interesting, too, to probably get rid of stadiums. I do like Jose's list. I think the path is really smart. Basically, Jose told me the idea behind the path was that in, like, the mirror match, if you go Starbirth first, you can path them so they can't do Starbirth. That was kind of the idea behind the path. It's also good against other matchups too, not just like the mirror. And of course, we got Andrew Estrada with the Lost Box deck. Did play against Andrew, once again playing the Sky Seal Stone 4-seal split with the Snorlax in the deck. So Snorlax being a pretty big factor here. It was a pretty good call to play Snorlax, I think, in Lost Box. And then, of course, we got Ray with a Lugia deck once again. This one does play the Penny, not the Thornton. Plays a very heavy count of Mezagoza. Playing 3. And then, of course, we got Matthew Wood here, playing a very cool Arc Duralist. This one actually doesn't play the Adventurous Discovery. All right, memes aside, yeah, this is my list. Yeah, again, I didn't play the Discovery. I just maxed out the draw, 4 Chorus, 3 Judge, 2 Research. Pretty happy with it. I mean, there were times where I wish I did have Discovery, but overall, this draw was just so nice to have. I mean, there were so many times where having access to a supporter that turn that wasn't an Adventurous Discovery was very good to have. I mean, there were games where I needed to play a Chorus or a Judge or a Research to play the game, and it literally saved my bacon. It also just made me, like, less worrying about getting judged. I got judged and Roxanne quite a bit in this tournament, and I'm pretty sure none of them actually did that much damage to me because of the amount of draw that I had in the deck. I just really think the draw is really good. I think the Chorus is honestly insane, too, to thin out useless cards. There's so many times where you just want to Chorus away stuff and fluff you don't need anymore. So I don't know, the Chorus was just insane. I think the 4 Chorus was, like, the best supporter in the deck overall. But I definitely wouldn't mind having a second boss in the deck looking back. Then, of course, we got Michael with the Gudra. Now, Gudra is really interesting. I considered Gudra for the tournament. I was like, yeah, too much Duraludon. It's probably not a good call in Urshifu VMAX, obviously. But Gudra did do well. I mean, Gudra is one of those decks that, like, if you just dodge and weave, like, all the bad matchups, Gudra can still win games. And a lot of people also do not know how to play against Gudra. I think a lot of people really, when they play against Gudra, they just don't know what to do against it. So, I mean, that's just kind of one of the things that Gudra has going for it. It's just, it's hard to play against. It's hard to kind of figure out ways to beat it. Unless you're playing against, like, a really good player who figures out the matchup, then, yeah, most people don't know what to do against Gudra. And I think Gudra is just a pretty solid deck if you just dodge bad matchups. And, I mean, I didn't hit any Gudra. I wanted to hit Gudra because I obviously Duraludon Choice Belt Single Strike Energy is just insane in that matchup. But yeah, Gudra doing well. Nothing too crazy in this list. No Articuno or anything. Just straight Gudra. We got Bradley with another Lost Zone deck. This one looks to be the Turbo build once again. Actually, whoa. Double Dragonite. That is honestly kind of smart. Double Dragonite means you don't lose to Lost City and you don't have to worry about one being prized. And Double Dragonite, no Heavy Ball on this list. That is honestly kind of impressive to have. I mean, it's definitely smart to not have the Heavy Ball just to play the Double Dragonite. Because I actually had a game against Andrew where I'm pretty sure he prized Dragonite. And he would have won the game if he had the Dragonite in the deck. So, yeah, Double Dragonite's honestly kind of smart. For sure. Of course, we got and the highest placing Arctina. Arctina didn't do as well, but we actually got Deloc here with the Arctina Aerodactyl. Pretty smart. So one of the things with Arctina is I don't think it has the best matchup against Lugia. I think Arctina's Lugia matchup is kind of shaky, mainly because, I mean, if they just get off Summoning Star, they can win the prize trade easily with, like, Tyranitar and Stonjourner and Urshifu. Deloc was like, nah, we play an Aerodactyl, and I really like Deloc's list here with the Aerodactyl V-Star. He actually plays a Sydney in the deck, too. Being able to look at your opponent's hand and discard up to 2 of any combination of Special Energy and Stadiums is also really smart, just to ensure that Path of the Peak sticks. Deloc's list is really cool. I mean, Deloc's been known to kind of play these, like, spicy decks, and this is definitely a really cool take on Giratina. I've honestly considered Aerodactyl in this format. I think Aerodactyl is still good, because Lugia is still very popular. I mean, I played against 4 Lugia at, you know, Hartford. So it's like, if I had Aerodactyl, it would have been a lot easier to beat them. So yeah, I definitely like the addition of Aerodactyl in the Arctina deck. Really cool addition for sure. And of course, we got my friend Hamza with the Guardy deck. Hamza does play the Champions Festival. And also the 4-Seal Stone, not playing the Sky Seal Stone, opting for the 4-Seal instead. 4-Seal is really cool to help with consistency in the Gardevoir deck to guarantee you, you know, whatever you need. And honestly, that could be better than Sky Seal in a lot of situations. Then we got Justin here with another Arctina deck. This one, just very straightforward Arctina, just very straightforward Arctina. I don't know if any Arctina Pikachus did well. I guess we're going to find out. We got another Arctina. Once again, super straightforward Arctina build here. Nothing crazy to write home about. Another Arcdura Umbreon, of course. This one does actually play a Manaphy, which is kind of smart, I guess, for the Kyogre matchup, since this deck is kind of like... Kyogre does have an easier time into this deck more than anything else, unless you time a Judge at the right moment. This build does play 3 Judge, 2 Chorus, 1 Research. Again, not playing as much draw, only playing 6 draw cards. One thing I don't like to see, but it is what it is. The Manaphy is honestly kind of smart, though. I do like the addition of the Manaphy tech, because if you just time it right against... the Kyogre deck, it's good. And also, if you're able to, like, Lost City all the Sableye, you bench Manaphy. You don't gotta worry about Manaphy getting Lost Mind, which is honestly kind of cool. That's actually a pretty cool inclusion in the deck. We got another Meloetta Mew doing pretty well. This one actually, God, plays a Drapion and Catchers. Very interesting build here. Playing Drapion Catchers, playing Judge 2, playing 2-path. Different than Rowan's list with the Trekking Shoes. Very interesting build here of Fusion Mew. We got another Goodra doing pretty well. This one does play the 3-3 Goodra. Honestly, going forward with Goodra, I wouldn't hate the Articuno going back in the deck, mainly for the matchup against Dura. Because I feel like that's the one thing that's going to hold Goodra back right now, is how good Dura is right now. So maybe Goodra should look to play more anti-Dura cards. Another Mew double turbo build, a Mew doing well. We got yet another Arcdura deck. Again, just dominated day 2. Actually insane. Through again, just playing the very low count of draw, 5 draw in total, but the discovery, yeah, it's just insane to see this deck just dominate, because the deck was really good for the tournament. Again, very, very good. Another Lugia here. This Lugia deck does play the Thornton, not the Penny, for the Urshifu, which can definitely make a difference in the Dura matchup. And then we got Guardy again. This Guardy build does play the Gallade, which is really cool to see. The Gallade definitely is a cool option, getting you the ability to get any supporter you want. Can actually be very good if you get, like, Roxanne or Judge. That's one of my ways I was beating Gardevoir, was, like, I was timing my Judge at the right moment to try to dodge a blow-up turn for my opponent, and it actually worked a lot of the time. And the Gallade just makes it harder for a Judge to do anything, which is kind of cool to see. More Arctina. This one does play the Drapion and the Radiant Gardevoir, so try to be a little bit more bulkier, having access to the Lost City for the Mew matchup. This build did respect Mew a little bit harder, which I do like the Mew respect. Also, not even playing the Squelvet, it looks like. Just like, nah, bro, we don't need Squelvet. More Lost Box shenanigans, Turbo Kyogre Lost Box right here. Another Goodra. There we go. More Goodra. This one not playing Articuno. Playing a very heavy count of Temple. Kind of going back to the original build from pre-rotation. Actually also playing a Judge. Judge is honestly really good in Goodra because of what you can do against Kyogre. Like, against Kyogre, they can checkmate you with their... You know, they can play very well against you and checkmate you with Kyogre. And this is where the Judge is good, because you just judge them in the late game, because, you know, Kyogre decks will not play into Roxanne, so they're always just going to get to Kyogre super fast and Kyogre your Goodras. And that's where the Judge comes in clutch, to just basically prevent them from Kyogre you. And it's honestly really, really smart. Got more Arcdura shenanigans here. Again, just a lot of the lists are going to look the same. I mean, we just see the Manaphy in the one, but a lot of them are going to look the same. We got more Guardy here with the double Temple of Sinnoh. Very cool to see double Temple. Just really respecting that Lugia matchup, which is, you know, very fair. We got more Mew. This one, Fusion Mew once again. Straightforward build. Playing double Lost City, so really respecting Drapion. Really respecting it. Only playing the 3-path, though. But I guess 3-path is fair enough. You could even just go 3-path, 1 Lost City, too. We got Grant Manley again on the Lost Zone Kyogre deck, playing the double Pokestop. We got my boy Marvin. Marvin's actually another friend of mine who was my locals, playing the Turbo Lost Box deck with the one of Snorlax here. Again, Snorlax being a pretty good tech card. And then we got Jimmy O'Brien with another Fusion Mew deck. Or double Turbo Mew, I mean. This one did play the Fan, it looked like, actually. We got more Lost Zone shenanigans here. Once again, the Turbo Lost Box deck. Playing actually a Collapse Stadium in the deck as the tech card, which is kind of smart. And we got Carl with another Guardy deck here. This one actually, playing the Fighting Gallade. I like that. I mean, Fighting Gallade's pretty cool against Arceus V-Star. And also pretty good against Miraidon. So I definitely like the idea of playing Gallade in the Guardy deck. It's honestly a pretty smart inclusion. This one also plays the Mirage Step Curlia. Instead of just 4 refinements. That's interesting. Got more Lugias here. This one, once again, just being the Tyranitar, Urshifu. Yeah, just more stuff. Yeah. More Lugia. And we got even more Lugia here once again. Probably going to be look the same. Yeah, Lugia with, like, the teacher. I honestly playing an Arven is kind of interesting. Arven and a Choice Belt. Bit of math fixing there. Interesting. Very interesting inclusion in that. And we got another Arctina. This one not playing the Pikachu, just straight Arctina once again. Straightforward, consistent Arctina. Now Lugia deck here. This one also playing the promo Urshifu. Interesting. And then Lucky Energy. 2 Mesagoza. Not as much stadiums as I would have expected. Also playing a Roxanne and only 3 research. So the draw is interesting. He does play a heavy count of ball cards, though. Ultra Ball, Great Ball, and Capturing Aroma. Very interesting. Actually, no, I played against William Crawford. That's right. I noticed, I recognized the name. I played against William Crawford, actually, in day 2. We got Raymond here with the Sableye Cramstar deck. This was also my round 15 opponent with this Sableye Cramstar deck. The thing that bit him in the end was the Fire Energy being prized, and that did hurt in the end. But there was the One of Basin, which is really cool to kind of have an earlier pop-off Charizard turn. Also playing the Cross Switcher, and 3 damage mods with 1 Defiance Band and double Choice Bell. The double Choice Bell is actually really good for the Cram to 2-shot my Arceus, which did make a big difference. We got Nicholas here once again. That's 3 of my opponents in a row. I did lose to Nicholas though with the Mew deck. Unfortunately, just kind of bodied my Umbreons and stuff. That's 3 of my day 2 opponents in a row: William, Raymond, and Nicholas. We got Brandon here with another Lost Zone deck here. This one is the Charizard build of Lost Zone. Again, this one not playing the Cross Switcher, opting for more kind of techier stuff like the Roxanne, the Raihan, and stuff like that, and the Echoing Horn and stuff. So, I mean, Sableye Cramstar is still a pretty solid deck, to be honest. It's not all around still pretty good deck. Then we got Eduardo here with Arctina. Again, straightforward Arctina deck. Playing Double Belt. I think Double Belt is really good right now in the format. More Lugia action. Once again, playing the Single Strike Urshifu and Lugia. No surprise there. We got Miraidon Flaffy. I think this was the highest placing Miraidon deck. Is that Ampharos? I'm pretty sure it's Ampharos. Is it Ampharos? Yo, it is Ampharos. Let's go. Yo, somebody actually played Ampharos. All right, I like that. Yeah, Miraidon Flaffy is honestly a decent deck right now. Is it the best way to play Miraidon? It might be. And it is cool to see it do well and get day 2. And this one does play the Ampharos EX. I know it doesn't show it up on Limitless, but that is an Ampharos EX, which is kind of cool to see. So it's pretty neat to see the Ampharos in the Miraidon deck. We got the highest place in Palkia. Now, Palkia is an interesting deck right now. This one does play Bibarel Squilvet. But yeah, Palkia is honestly in an interesting spot right now in the format. Yeah, it's going to have a bit of a harder time into like Raikou and stuff. But the deck does play 2 Empoleon to try to counteract that. It's got the Articuno Paralyzed combo and the Starmie V, which are all pretty good against the Arceus variant specifically. And it is cool to see Palkia do so well. Palkia is one of those decks that can kind of play into like whatever you want. And I think it's a pretty good like counter box tile like type deck in the format, to be honest. It's very interesting how it can play, though it does feel like it's easier to play around with the Palkias, but I do think that Palkia is honestly something to look into going into the format. It might be tough with like Raikou and Skyseal Stone being so popular, and I'm not sold on Palkia's matchup against something like Gardevoir, but it is an interesting deck in the format regardless. Because this build doesn't play Canceling Cologne for like the Greninja play on the Gardevoir deck. Once again, more Arc Dura Umbreon shenanigans. Then again, going up to the double path build here of the deck and cutting the Alakazam and Hawlucha in favor of a Radiant Gardevoir for a little bit more bulk, which might help against Mew, I guess, so fair enough. More Lugia. Nothing crazy in this Lugia build. Looking out for the spicy techs, you know. But yeah, Lugia dominates, no surprise, because it's Lugia, right? And then we got more Guardy action here. Another just straightforward Guardy list playing the double Stone package and also playing double Temple of Sinnoh for Lugia. All right, what else do we got here? We got more Arcdur Umbreon. This one, okay, yeah, see, I like this. This is a heavy count of supporters. We got 3 Colress and 3 Research and 3 Boss. So a lot of draw on the deck. Not playing the Karen's Conviction, though. Definitely very interesting. Also going up to the 5 metals. I do like this list. I do like it. The 3 Research, though, is a lot, but draw is draw at the end of the day. Got more Arctinas. Straightforward Arctina deck, it looks like. Another Goodra deck doing pretty well. This one, again, just straight Goodra, no Articuno shenanigans or anything like that. Playing the V-Guard is interesting, though, in the format. For sure. I'm not sure how Goodra is going to go going forward. Again, I think Goodra has to play like some kind of counter Dura. And we got another Arcdura. This one is actually just a straight Arcdura deck, not playing any Umbreon. It's honestly an interesting build. We do see Capturing Aroma, Pokegear, and Box of Disaster. If the Pokemon V this card is attached to has full HP and gets knocked out, by damage from attacking opponent's Pokemon, put 8 damage on it. I'm pretty sure that helps in, like, 1-hit KO scenarios. I'm not sure what matchup that's going to be for, per se, but it is definitely an interesting inclusion in an Arceus Duraludon deck. This build doesn't play Karen's Conviction, which I feel like if you do play this deck, I feel like you should just still play Karen's Conviction, because if you're playing the 4 Pokegears, I feel like you should still put a Karen in here. But it is interesting regardless. I do like the build. Very just straightforward. 4 Boss, 4 Chorus. No Research, though. It's kind of interesting, for sure. We got more Arcdura Umbreon stuff, another build with 3 Research, so opting for the heavier Research count there. And we got another Archeops Lugia deck, obviously, again with the Penny and the Urshifu. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Lugia's just been figured out by now. I don't know if we're going to see any cool Lugia decks. We got another Arctura deck. I did play against Riley here in day 1. Did beat me. So my only loss in day 1 it was the mirror. Because again, I'm not like the mirror is just kind of weird, bro. I don't know. We got more Lugia. Frank I did play against in the tournament here. Again, just another Lugia deck. Doing Lugia things, baby. And then we got Mew. This one does play Skolvet. That's something I've seen people say to try out. Now, it does hurt your draw because it's one less fusion in play, but it does allow you to reset your hand, which is kind of smart, actually. You only get to drop to 5, so it's like having a mini Bibarel. I'm not sold on the Skolvet. It's a really cool idea, though, to play it in Mew. Though I don't know if it really fixes any matchups in particular, but it is an interesting tech card nonetheless. Got Andrew Hedrick once again with the Turbo Last Box Double Stone deck. Another Miraidon Flaffy doing well. This one does not play Ampharos, so the highest place Miraidon Flaffy deck did play the Ampharos EX. Look at that. It's built, again, pretty straightforward stuff. We do see the Double Stones, the Cleansing Gloves, very similar to the top 8 list from Portland. Got more Fusion Mew shenanigans here with Oricorio. Oricorio definitely could have made a difference against Umbreon for sure if they don't have the single strike energy on. Or if they do. We got more Guardy action here. Just, again, straightforward Guardy, just kind of based off towards... Oh, we do see the Irida, sorry. We do see the Irida. Irida's kind of smart. If you go first, you can Irida for Battle VIP and Greninja, which is honestly kind of insane. Especially if you can fish it out. That's honestly really, really smart. Yeah, that was Goof. That was Goof GG. Yeah, okay, that was Goof's list. All right. Because I did play against Goof. I did play against Goof with the Irida. More Arctura Umbreons here. A lot of the lists are just going to look the same. That one did play the Manaphy again. Then we got this really cool Arceus Delphox Gallade deck. This is a very interesting. This is like a fire Arceus deck, and this day actually did get day 2. This is a really cool deck to see with the Delphox V and the Gallade package. I mean, I heard some talks about this deck actually doing well in the tournament throughout the day, and I was like, wait, what? An Arceus deck with Delphox and Gallade? Yo, say it ain't so. I do like this idea, though. Just play the Kirlia draw engine. The Delphox is kind of cool. Delphox V is obviously very similar to Amazing Rare Raikou. With the attack Magical Fire, we can put 2 Energy Miss Pokemon in the Lost Zone, and this attack will do 120 damage to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon, so you can do 120, 120 Snipe. If you take out the Manaphy, that is really good. This one does play Radiant Charizard. I do like the idea of Radiant Charizard in this deck. Radiant Charizard with Arceus, something that a lot of people have talked about before. Hasn't really shown its worth yet, but Charizard is a very strong card in the format that can hit pretty good numbers, right? So definitely a really unique list there. I'd love to see it. We got more Mew, obviously. Just a lot of Mew, actually. 3 Mews in a row, to be exact. Just all the double turbo Mews. Just, yeah, all the Mew. All the Mew. Yeah, I know. We got more Regieleki. This one does Miraidon with Regieleki. This one plays the Klefki package and the Zapdos. Almost like Galarian Zapdos. But yeah, Regieleki, Miraidon honestly isn't bad either. It might actually be better into Arctura because you can just one-shot the Duraludon with, you know, the triple Regieleki belt combo. So I quite like Miraidon Regieleki. I actually don't know if it's in a bad spot right now in the format. And then we got the Urshifu Inteleon Rapid Strike deck, which, I mean, definitely it's surprising to see this is like the highest placing one, considering this deck probably wouldn't even have been a bad call for the tournament, though. I guess his Arctura matchup is the thing that holds it back. Yeah, I definitely think Arctura is going to be the thing that holds this deck back for sure, because Arctura will be tricky to beat because they have access to the fact that you really can't damage them. You can't use Rapid Strike Energy with Inteleon VMAX against Duraludon. It was a glitch on live. Urshifu was good against Arceus, but not so good against anything else. So I guess the Equine Horn can maybe fix that. But this plays no boss, though. More Lost Box. My boy Kieran Wagner here with the Stone build of Lost Box. Then we got another Lost Box deck. Again, most Lost Box decks have been figured out with like the Dragonite Raikou. Then we do have the Guardy list, actually opting for a Weird Ear, and that's a very interesting inclusion in the Guardy list. We see the Weird Ear here. So Weird Ear obviously does have that ability where you can move all the energy to it, and then it does 4 damage for each energy on this Pokemon. Really interesting idea to play Weird Ear in this deck, for sure. And it does have the Sky Steel Stone, so it's like you can make it work. And then, of course, more Lugia. Another Arctina. No Flying Pika Arctina. I don't know if we're going to see one, but I'm hoping we do. We got another Miraidon Regieleki. Again, I do like the deck. I'm not, like, I don't know, man, if I'm sold on the Klefki, but I guess you need the Klefki for Lost Box. If you're going to play with Lost Box, you kind of need the Klefki. So I guess it makes sense, right? Got more Guardy here doing pretty well. Yeah, with the Champions Festival in the deck, obviously, being pretty good. Got Lugia once again. Just more straightforward Lugia shenanigans. Again, Lugia's been pretty much figured out by now, I feel like. We got my friend Simon here with the Lost Box. 4 Seal Stone, no Sky Seal Stone. And he's playing the Snorlax to help out in, like, the mirror and stuff. More Meloetta Mew doing well. So this one, not the same as Rowan's list, not playing the Trekking Shoes, but does have the Pokemon Catchers in the Fusion Mew deck here. And the Double Lost City, not playing any Path of Peak at all is definitely interesting. More Arcdur Umbreon, look at that, baby. The deck that dominated day one. We got some more Fusion, or Double Turbo Mew, sorry, with the Avery, just kind of looking like it's Pablo's list. I mean, it's a pretty safe deck, right? Pretty safe deck. We got another Sableye Cramsar deck playing at the Penny. It is interesting that all these lists have now cut the Mawile out of the deck, which is something that is definitely very interesting to see that the Mawile's been cut. Another Guardy deck here, obviously, with the double Stone Split package and having access to 2 Temple of Sinnoh for the Lugia matchup. We got another Goodra deck here. Again, Goodra definitely is an interesting spot right now. And again, if I were to play Goodra going forward, I would probably play the Articuno in the deck just to try to help against Dura. Unless there's another good way to beat Dura. But I feel like Articuno would be your best bet against Dura. Because you can Articuno paralyze them twice and then knock them out with Goodra. Take out a Duraludon in like 2 hits so they don't find a switch. We got another Arctina build. Again, straightforward Arctina. I'd say we never saw Flying Pikachu. Is there any more Arctinas? No, there's not. That was the last one. All right, rip. More Lost Box here. Ooh, this Lost Box is interesting. It's Kyogre with Snorlax and Zam. Very interesting. A lot of people still kind of like the Zam. It's still a respectable card to play in the format. More Lost Box here. Again, just the Dragonite build Lost Box, nothing too crazy to write home about. We got Lugia again. More Lugia shenanigans. And we do have a very interesting deck here. It is another Palkia deck. This one is the Palkia Guardy deck. It's something that actually I was, testing with PJ on the during the week. Really interesting idea. You just build up a huge hand with Gardevoir and Kirlia. You get to the point where you can build up Kyogre and Articuno with Shining Arcana. The Klefkis are very interesting though. The Klefkis are very interesting to see. In fact, they're playing Klefki without the Teleportation Burst Rels, which I guess that's Psychic Energy only. Some Palkia Guardy lists also played the Delphox I've seen, so it's a very interesting take on the Palkia idea. But I do like this deck. It's a pretty interesting deck. It can be scary to play against because being able to accelerate energy with Gardevoir like that is kind of cool and pretty scary. More Sableye Cramsard with Triple Clara. And then, of course, we got more Guardy action. This one does play the Sky Seal Stone. But yeah, we did see some Guardy lists play that Force Seal Stone, which I do think is a really cool addition. And then we got another Lost Box deck here. And then we got more Lugia. Just straightforward Lugia. Yeah, again, Lugia's been figured out. The Duraludon Lugia deck seems to have died off. And then, of course, once again, we got more Sableye Lost Box. And looks to be it for the entirety of day 2. So the most interesting development that we saw was the Ampharos EX, the Gallade Delphox, and then a couple Palkia getting day 2 is also really cool and interesting to see. But yeah, this is kind of the meta right now, where we are at in the format going into the next kind of format with Palkia Evolve. We still have Milwaukee coming up, so we'll have to see where things go with Milwaukee. But I feel like most of the decks have been figured out, like the Mew. We might see more Fusion Mew, which we'll talk about later, obviously, in the Milwaukee videos. And then, of course, we do have more stuff going on with Lost Box. Again, the Dragonite builds seem to be figured out by now, especially with the Kyogre or the Dragonite. Or you just don't play Kyogre and you just play Snorlax. So definitely interesting to see the development of the format going into Milwaukee. That'll be for me. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like. And, yeah, let me know what you think of the day 2 decks down below in the comments. And I'll catch you all on another video here on the second channel. Bye-bye.